little intermission to ask you. You went to the movies this past weekend.
Yeah.
Who'd you go with, by the way? Did you go with friends or did you just go by yourself?
Oh, no. As soon as I got back from Boston, I just went right to the movie theater.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Scheduling,
And you saw Kong.
Kong Skull Island.
I mean, what did you think?
It's fucking awesome.
Really?
Dude, it was really fun. And it was really funny.
Hiddleston!
Yeah, so we gotta take a step back for a second. So Pat, you haven't seen Godzilla, smash hit from 2014 from Gareth Edwards, director of Rogue One, right?
No.
So you haven't seen that. So let's look back. So in 2014, Godzilla has post Kick-Ass, pre-Golden Globes, Aaron Taylor Johnson kind of leading the show. You got Bryan Cranston there as his dad. You got Ken Watanabe. You got David Strathairn from the Bourne movies. Good cast. The problem with that Godzilla movie, which I still really liked, was it was very serious, very dark tone, very self-serious. And
It's a monster movie. They're always serious.
right, and of course, yeah, definitely. Totally believable monsters. Yeah, obviously take it seriously. But Godzilla didn't show up for a very long time. And when he was around, he was barely in frame. He didn't really have his big moments to the very end. And that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I still think it's a fun movie. It's a good setup, good origin story for this, monster verse they're creating. And it did really well. 93.2 million opening weekend here in the States, and then 529 globally. So did well. Set the bar straight. Obviously, Gareth Edwards got, his jump to an even bigger IP with Star Wars. So now we're at Kong Skull Island, and we're kind of like taking a step back with the director because it's directed by Jordan Vogt Roberts, who has only 2 director credits, one of which is Nick Offerman American Ham, the comedy special, and his debut Kings of Summer, which was a Sundance darling in 2013. So basically, he's a newer up and coming director. But then you have this crazy cast, which you see if you see in the trailers: Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, John Goodman, John C. Reilly, Samuel L. Jackson. Then we have Tony Kebbell, who I still want him to be in good flicks because he was bad in Fantastic Four, but he's awesome in Black Mirror. He's the guy with the in the very first season with the eye thing.
Okay.
When his wife died or whatever.
Yeah, when you can look back at the memories.
Yes, that one.
And his wife cheated on him.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Then we have Corey Hawkins and Jason Mitchell, a.k.a. Dre and Eazy-E from Straight Outta Compton. And we also have Shea Wigham from Boardwalk Empire. We have Thomas Mann, who was the lead guy in Project X.
So just
the nerd kid.
Cast.
Yes, a ton, kids everywhere. John Ortiz.
Kids everywhere.
And that's actually my one problem with movies. There's too many characters. Too many characters that just didn't need to be there. Not that they were bad, it's just you can't develop all those characters.
Right.
And they don't really serve any purpose to the plot. But what I did like is that it's fun, and the tone was not super serious. There's a nice levity, whether it's the musical cues or John C. Reilly's character, who they find on Skull Island because you see this in the very beginning. It's not a spoiler. He crashed on the island in World War II. He was shot down.
Gotcha.
And he's been there ever since. Kong Skull Island takes place right after the Vietnam War ends.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
So he's really funny.
What's the movie really about then? Because if you think about it, when you think about a monster movie, it's kind of about that big reveal. Like,
of course,
there's this impending doom, and then how are we going to stop this huge monster?
Right, and that's what's so good about it is that Kong shows up early. They get to the island within like the first half hour. They get to before the first act's even over, and basically they're going there on the guise of tracking this new uncharted terrain. John Goodman's leading a science department. They get Samuel L. Jackson and some of the other guys like they're the military escort. That's basically the backdrop. Not really important, but what is important is that Kong shows up early and he fucks shit up. Effects are great, obviously. It is mocapped. It's also beautiful. It was shot on location in Vietnam.
Oh wow!
So like
awesome.
there's tons of various jungle settings as they get split up and they're going around the island doing cool things, running from all these crazy monsters. But yeah, I think my main takeaway is that it's just fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously. I think the Kong moments are good.
So what, are they trying to stop Kong? Is that the goal?
Well, no. Most of them didn't know Kong was there. Just John Goodman, as it turns out.
So what, was he trying to stop him, or what was the...
trying to prove that monsters were existing.
Oh, well, I think that actually helps then to the tone of the movie, because if it's about that impending doom and you're going to an
It's not just city destruction, because we're on this island.
Exactly. Right. That takes away a lot of the stakes. It gets to kind of be more of like a lighthearted, maybe even a character-driven movie in a way. And everything I've heard around is that John C. Reilly actually steals the show.
He does. No, he the thing about it is there's so many characters, but there's also no clear lead. We have Hiddleston and Brie Larson, who they're together most of the film, but neither one really steps up. Just the way the script goes. Samuel L. Jackson is almost an antagonist in a way.
How fast did he die?
And then none of these guys I mentioned died fast. There's a lot of other characters that die early
Samuel L. Jackson dies in like every movie, though.
Right. It's usually his thing. But then John C. Reilly, once he shows up, he really commands the screen and kind of... apparently he ad-libbed most of his role, which is great, yeah.
That's one of like the really cool things about getting seasoned actors like that is you can kind of just give them like the premise of a character. Like, it's a crazy World War II guy that's been stuck on this island worshiping a monkey for years, and how would he be? And then John C. Reilly just runs with that.
There's this scene towards the end where Tom Hiddleston has this ridiculous action scene. I don't want to spoil it, but it's just badass. It's badass. You'll either laugh at it or you'll think it was freaking awesome. Either way, it worked for me. Jason Mitchell, who's Eazy-E, he's straight comic relief. Corey Hawkins doesn't have enough lines, in my opinion. Like I said, there's a little too many characters, but there's this one recurring
joke.
Yeah, bit. It's almost like a cliche at the end, but Tony Kebbell is one of the soldiers, and he's writing a letter to his son, and he keeps going. He has a southern voice like, "Dear Billy," and then writing a letter, and then all the other characters throughout the film, from Act 1 to Act 3, whenever they're like, "Oh shit, we're so fucked," he's like, "Dear Billy, run from giant spiders," like just shit like that. And like, yeah, it's stupid. Like the script isn't amazing, but it works for me. I think it's a fun movie.
That's great, and I think we need more fun movies that aren't as serious, especially when it comes to like monster movies and things like that.
And that's the thing. This monster verse they're creating, we're setting up Godzilla versus Kong in 2020. But before that, we get the sequel to 2014 Godzilla called Godzilla King of the Monsters. It's going to start filming this June. Comes out March 2019. Lead Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things. Fucking 11 is going to be in a Godzilla movie.
Wow.
Alongside Vera Farmiga and Kyle Chandler.
Interesting.
They're going for it,
dude. That's really
dude.
Interesting.
They're going for it.
Well, we'll definitely be talking more about that. I think it'd also be interesting, maybe moving forward with like Marvel and DC releasing projects this year and talking about them building the Monsterverse.
Yeah.
Talking just about the idea of movies always being part of something bigger.
IP.
And just talking about how that affects the way movies and TV are made now. And that actually leads kind of into Legion, which I want